A very warm day has come to an end in the east, and as warm as it was, hardly any record highs, but that's because the bar was set high. Much of the east away from the Gulf Coast is on the warm side of normal in a big way, and that's going to continue tomorrow and Friday. We've got some winter weather going on in the west with some areas of heavy snow and rain, as well as melting snows, creating issues in the mountains there. We will talk about that, take a peek at the weekend in the long range, all of that tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show, brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York, in Southwest Suffolk County on Long Island, serving the entire New York, New Jersey, Connecticut tri-state area with everything you need this spring. It's topsoil, sand, and mulch, and just about anything else you need to make your home look great. 631-756-1125 is the phone number. They've got the best prices anywhere. The website is omnitruevalue.com, and also brought to you by Tempest. They are the revolutionary Tempest weather system, and they are the fastest growing observing network on the planet. You can become part of that. We'll put a link up on the chat board if you are interested. We are here affiliated with Tempest here on the Joe and Joe Weather Show, which right now is just me. Okay, so just waiting for Joe, because apparently he's got internet issues tonight. Oop, this just in. Okay, so Joe is in the process of rebooting, and we'll bring him on as soon as I see him appear. In the meantime, welcome to everybody on the chat board, and welcome to those of you who are lurking in the background tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show. You can watch the Joe and Joe Weather Show Monday through Thursday nights at 7:35 p.m. Eastern Time, as well as on Sundays at 11 a.m. And we also occasionally take that Sunday off, but we'll be here this Sunday. Fridays and Saturdays we're off, so we get a little bit of a break, unless there's a storm going on. And, of course, we encourage everybody, if they'd like, to participate on the chat board, get involved in the conversation as we join our regulars there. So Joe's in the areas. He's here. Everybody hang on momentarily. We'll get Mr. Rayo on board. And let's see, where is it?
Hello.
Are you with us?
Yes.
All right, so just give me a second here while I get the screen in order. Just a second. There you go. My. Are you doing it with 2 Dixie cups and a string?
Pretty much. I just noticed I didn't have any internet when I came on about 10 minutes ago. I said, "Oh," and when that happens, I have to shut the computer down, shut off the modem, shut off the Wi-Fi for about 10 seconds, and then power everything back up again and let it all put itself back together again.
Well, you're here, and that's the most important thing.
Yes.
I got a map of the high temperatures today, and most of the forecasts that I saw this morning were going for middle to upper 70s, and I knew that was in trouble when I looked at the temperatures at 11 o'clock, and they were already in the mid to upper 70s.
Yep.
This today, I think, was a perfect, even though today was really a perfect example of how upside in the springtime. I mean, it made low 80s for highs now. Sea breezes came in later in the afternoon along the south shore of Long Island, but it made low to mid 80s on Long Island. It made mid to upper 70s on the east end of Long Island. Newark got to 88. That was the highest number I could find. Philadelphia was only 82, believe it or not. And I think the Park was 84. I see low 80s in the Hudson Valley, low 80s in Connecticut. And the other thing about today, Joe, is I also saved from the Weather Service hazards map. You can set up the whatever parameter you like, and they happen to have the lowest relative humidity in the prior, for the day, starting from 0Z last night. And the humidity levels today were all in the 20s. Now, there were a couple of exceptions. I'm not sure what the station is. That might be Newark. At one point today had a relative humidity of 14%, and so did Farmingdale. Farmingdale to Northport, one of the observations there, 14% relative humidity. Just about everybody else, relative humidity levels, low to mid-20s. Islip, 19. Danbury, 19%. I mean, this was really bone dry today.
And you want to know another symbol that it was bone dry? Did you hear that Central Park earlier today had a dust devil?
Really?
In fact, we have, let me see if I can put it up on, there's no sound, so I don't have to worry about audio,
right.
but
okay, hold on.
Video?
Hold on, let's see, hold on. Okay, you sure it was a dust devil and not like some trash?
Well, let me show this to you. This,
all right, hang on. Hang on, let me get the share thing here. Go ahead. It's all yours.
Okay, well this was sent by Pat Calvin, who used to work at News 12. Actually, there is sound, but I don't think it's necessary to have the sound on for this. Let me just go full screen, and oh, wait a minute. Let me not go full screen. Let me just get the share capability. You'll find this most interesting, Joe. This is about the most well-defined dust devil that I've seen in a very, very long time in the New York metropolitan area. Are you seeing that?
I'm seeing a still shot here.
Right. You see some drama today in Central Park? Is that on your screen right now?
Yeah, I see that.
Okay, let me start it up then. Watch.
Oh, my. Wow.
Is that amazing?
It is. And you know what, Joe?
What?
That dust was a gift from Mr. and Mrs. W.C. Ridgway of Hollyhock, Virginia.
And that somebody's going to move there. Let's get that out of the way.
What was that at the end?
Somebody, I guess they have these little things where the bicycle rider will take you on a lovely tour of Central Park, and you can.
Oh, okay.
In a covered,
That is really bizarre. That is really very, very strange.
That's
actually, the reason why I ask is because when it moves up in front, it almost looks like it's coming out of one of those things.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
that's impressive. Well,
so there you go.
So you know what? I've never seen a dust devil before.
I remember when I was working for Norm Dvoskin at News 12 Long Island, and it was a similar day, very warm, very dry, and all of a sudden, Ken Dickman, the late great Ken Dickman, a wonderful guy, was the assignment editor at News 12. He comes into where I was working, and we didn't have a weather center at that time. We were still working out of the graphics room. And he says, we've been getting phone calls from people who said that there was a tornado on Long Island today. And after listening to some of the reports, I put two and two together and said, you know what? I think we had a dust devil. And so it happens.
Wow.
And today certainly was warm, certainly was very dry, and we may have had just the right type of atmospheric condition for us to have a dust devil, believe it or not.
Well, there's always a first, I guess, and yeah, apparently so.
Apparently so, indeed. Yes.
The one thing about today also was the fact that the temperatures, as warm as they were, let me just fix this. Just give me just a second. There you go. And all right. As warm as it was, I didn't see any records being set. And then I looked around at some of the numbers, and the bar was really set high. 1977 on this date in New York City, the Central Park high was 90. And I believe the Newark record was for the same day was 92 or 93. Now, tomorrow's numbers are mostly, the park, I think, is 88. And I couldn't see what Newark's was. But I'll tell you, Joe, what's going to stop it tomorrow if there's sunshine all day with a west wind? I mean, it's going to go to 90. It's going to go to a 90 in a lot of spots.
Yeah, I agree. And it's only going to get hotter on Friday.
What's that?
It's only going to get hotter on Friday.
Oh, no question. And of course, we still have these low dew points. Also, that was another thing. I just put the watches and warnings map. Now, earlier today, so they have the red. They had a red flag warning up for the entire state of Pennsylvania, and for Maryland and a couple of counties in northeastern West Virginia and in northwestern Virginia. They also had red flag warnings up for Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. They did not have a red flag warning up for New Jersey or for the Hudson Valley. So guess where the brush fire is?
In Hudson Valley.
No, it's in New Jersey, in Ocean County.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was kind of mystified, and I was looking at that, and I said, well, why would they have it there? I mean, I kind of understand if they got it in most of the state of Pennsylvania, which a lot of the state is rural, and I get that. Okay, so that makes sense. Same for northwestern Virginia and northeastern West Virginia. A lot of that's rural. And they had it for Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island. Now, some of that's rural, but not all of it. But still, why would you have it on either side and not have it in between was beyond me.
Joe, we've discussed this in the past with a number of different scenarios. I mean, why, for example, in the winter, was there a winter storm warning posted for one county? To the north, there was nothing. To the south, there was nothing. All of that, or vice versa. There were winter storm warnings north and south, but right in the middle, there was nothing. I mean, we've seen this before, and I've never understood the criteria of warnings and advisories and watches by the Weather Service, but they do what they do. And they did what they did, and
the brush fire was in New Jersey.
And the brush fire was in New Jersey. There you
exactly. A lot of red flag warnings up, though they are still up in and around the Great Lakes, across Iowa into Nebraska, Kansas, eastern half of Colorado, New Mexico, down into southern Arizona, parts of southwest Texas. Also, we still have a cornucopia of flood advisories and flood advisories due to snow melting snows. We have fresh flash flood watches up for the northern half of the state of Nevada. We've got avalanche warnings still up in northwestern Utah. We've got winter storm warnings up in central Montana with advisories on either side in Idaho, and also into northeastern Montana. We got advisories there. So it's pretty much... This map is the watches and warnings map has really not changed very much in the past several days. It's been this general theme here, given the unusual pattern. Now, this was the other thing that was also a little bit of a surprise to an extent. Now we had these upper air disturbances moving through New England because of a low that's over New Brunswick, and this is a loop from earlier today. You can see the rotation. So there were clouds around this morning, and I thought when I saw those, I said, well, maybe that'll cut back on the daytime. You might lose a couple of hours. But it honestly, it didn't matter because once the clouds moved out around 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, the temperatures just took off. And in the meantime, this is what's left. You've got just some streaks of cloud cover up there in northern New England to off the coast of Maine, and that's it. Otherwise, from Maine down into the northern half of Georgia, it was a gorgeous day today. I was 33 this morning, got to 75 this afternoon for a high. We also have this sort of east-west band of moisture that extends from the Bahamas across Florida, the Gulf Coast. There is an upper low. If you look back in western Louisiana, you can see the rotation of the upper low. There's also a surface low with a little bit of, there's a little ball of thunderstorms there that has developed southeast of Boothville and south of Mobile that's moving northward. You can see all the lightning flashes there, but it looks like there's a low-level center about 75 miles or so to the southwest of that, where there isn't any convection. But it's an interesting satellite signature here. You can almost see that there is an attempt at some sort of, there is some rotation going on with this, but obviously way too early for this to be considered anything tropical or even subtropical.
Yeah, and the folks over at WPC tracking this in such a manner where it will be near coastal Virginia on Saturday morning, maybe somewhere south of Long Island Sunday morning. By then, though, it's going to be rather amorphous, but a lot of clouds and also some spotty precipitation that'll be flirting in and around the tri-state area from, I think, later on in the day on Saturday on into Sunday. And then from Monday, we'll have to wait for a cold front. Actually, the front will probably be sweeping across the region in the pre-dawn hours of Monday morning, and it wouldn't be surprising that along with some showers, there might even be a rumble or two of thunder as the front kind of cleans house, so to speak, pushes out the remnant effects of whatever you want to call this low pressure system out to sea to our east and setting the stage for a return to dry and fine weather to kick off the start of next week.
In the west, we've got moisture that's coming in off the Pacific, but it's kind of spread out. You can see also areas of clearing in parts of California and Nevada for now, but that's all streaming northeastward toward the Dakotas, and it has no way to move east until this ridge gets out of the way, which eventually it will do, but it still has another couple of days before it really makes its move. Meanwhile, we do have some heavy rain just touching southeasternmost Louisiana. Boothville is at the very tip of that little finger that sticks out in southeast Louisiana. It looks like some heavy rains moving onto the Mississippi Gulf Coast near Biloxi, also in and around Mobile, and an arm looks like it wants to come up to the Florida Panhandle. Also seeing some strong thunderstorms off the coast of Florida, east of Miami, out in the Atlantic, and then up the coast, seeing some showers offshore, also some scattered showers onshore in central Florida. And then you look up into the northwest, we've got some precipitation, snow in the higher elevations, probably some rain in the valleys there in Montana, and streaking precip that is moving up into eastern Montana and North Dakota. The Storm Prediction Center is indicating, or will be indicating shortly, and come on.
I see they have something. I see they have something for day 4. That would be for Saturday in your almost in, well, no, not in your neck of the woods, but off to the west of where you are, Joe, in western sections of Tennessee,
right,
eastern Arkansas, northern sections of Mississippi, and even in extreme southern sections of Illinois and Indiana. So that'll be something to monitor perhaps for the upcoming weekend. But I mean, it doesn't look like, I mean, like, it could be a lot worse for the upcoming weekend up here locally. A lot of clouds on Saturday and probably again on Sunday as well. And again, maybe a little spotty precipitation later Saturday. Better chance of seeing that during the day on Sunday. And then we wait for it to get all cleaned out late Sunday night with that cold front coming in from the west.
Yep, tomorrow's the slight risk that you see indicated here. This is the day 3 outlook, so let me just back it up. So one moment here. So here's the out right now. The marginal risk area is in that area of precip that you saw off the coast of Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama to the Florida Panhandle. Marginal risk being indicated there. For tomorrow into Friday, marginal risk in much of Alabama, much of Georgia, except for the north and for the east, and northern and central Florida in a marginal risk. Also a marginal risk up from northwest Texas up through western Kansas and western Nebraska. So this is Thursday into Friday. Friday into Saturday, there's your slight risk. North central Texas, looks like Dallas-Fort Worth is just on the edge of this, on the southern edge of the slight. And the slight runs across most of the eastern half or eastern 2/3 of Oklahoma into eastern Kansas. Marginal risk pushes up into Nebraska. Also, we have general thunderstorm risks from central Virginia back to northern Kentucky and then cutting down southward through eastern Alabama and the Florida Panhandle for Saturday. This is for Friday into Saturday. And yes, day 4, Saturday into Sunday, they have a 15% risk in eastern Arkansas, northwest Mississippi, western Tennessee and Kentucky, southern Illinois, southwestern Indiana. 15% would correspond with a slight risk for severe. Not a whole lot of rain, though, being indicated for the Northeast, Joe. 1/4 of an inch, some 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch, a bit more across central and western PA, upstate New York, parts of northern New England. Also, 1/2 to 3/4 in and around the northern Great Lakes, back to Minnesota, extending south into eastern Nebraska. The Gulf Coast, 1.5 inch to some 2 to 3 inch amounts, southeast Louisiana to the Florida coast, the Florida Panhandle, and also the east coast of Florida now an additional 3/4 of an inch to 1.5 inches on top of the rains that they already have received. So, I was looking at this today in terms of the overall pattern going forward, and it does seem to me, I didn't really look too closely. I'm going to look at it for the first time. So let's look at the GFS upper air, because it looked to me from the overnight stuff, Joe, that next week was going to be the flip of this week, where we would have temperatures near or below average. Not 20 degrees below average or 30 degrees below average, because right now,
Thank God.
Tomorrow, if we go to 90, that's almost 30 degrees above average.
Right.
But yeah, you see the ridge begins to move to the East Coast, and then the upper low that's over Louisiana starts to lift northeastward. This opens the door for that western trough to swing east, and that brings, as Joe said, maybe some scattered showers around at some point on Saturday. Also, I think on Saturday, the temperatures will be lower because there'll probably be more clouds, and also there'll probably be an onshore wind from the south. And then Sunday, this upper trough swings on through. It kind of amplifies, though, as it approaches. So I'm wondering whether, now the timing might be a little weird, but it would seem to me, Joe, that with this upper low, this could be maybe we could see some stronger thunderstorms develop as a front moves across, say, eastern Ohio and western and central PA down into West Virginia. Now, whether those storms hold together during the overnight Sunday night remains to be seen, but definitely going to be a cooler week next week, with troughing more in the eastern part of the United States. And in fact, as soon as that trough pulls out around Wednesday, Thursday, another trough drops in and takes over for the end of next week and through next weekend. So if you're liking this hot weather, because really that's what it is for this time of year, I would call today hot, even though it was bone dry with the humidity with the low dew points. If you like hot weather, this is gonna go away.
Today was the day where, you step outside. Ooh, it's really warm out there. At least inside, I mean, I didn't have to, think about turning on the air conditioning. It was much cooler, and especially down here where my office is. We have a finished basement, and I have an office just off to one side. It was like 66. I actually, it felt a little stuffy. I opened the sliding glass door, has a screen on it, so I don't worry about any critters getting in. But no sooner did I do that, but the temperature went up from 66 to 71. And it started feeling a little stuffy down here, so I actually closed the door and allowed it to cool again down here. But again, at least it was cooler inside the house as opposed to outside, and hopefully I won't be too uncomfortable tonight with the windows open to try to get a good night's sleep. We're getting into that time of the year, though, where as we progress deeper into the spring and on into the summer season. The thing that makes it tolerable is the fact that we have dew points that were in the 40s today. Maybe it'll be in the 50s tomorrow. Still comfortable, but once we start getting those dew points back up into the 60s and 70s,
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's not fun. So here's what the GFS does. I mean, you see the Gulf low there kind of comes inland, and then those showers just sort of inch their way northward. By Saturday afternoon, there's some showers predicted by the model across eastern Pennsylvania to southern New England, which kind of makes sense. It's not going to be an all-day situation. Again, clouds, the south wind that will hold temperatures down. So tomorrow and Friday will be the two hottest days, and then we'll ease after that. And then on Sunday, as this low and this comes out of the Rockies here, that heads up into Iowa, and there's a trailing cold front, so you start to see showers and thunderstorms there in Saturday evening in northwest Louisiana and into northeast Louisiana to northwest Mississippi. So that matches up with the slight risk that the SPC folks have for day 4. And then here on Sunday, this is Sunday at 8 o'clock, Joe. I mean, this sort of implies that there'll be some strong thunderstorms. I bet you we'll have at least a marginal risk being indicated for, say, Ohio and maybe the western half of PA into southwestern New York. I'm judging from the fact that the model weakens that, because by 2 a.m., it's not nearly as impressive. So I'm thinking that that's what SPC is going to do. With the risk area for the weekend. It's going to be mostly to the west.
And then, whatever rumbles of thunder are left over as they move further east Sunday night, that'll be for us. And as I said, once the front moves on through, and it should be through before daybreak on Monday morning, and Monday we should see some improvement in the weather overall, although it will not be anywhere near the warmth. By the way, Joe, here's a laugh. The record high on Friday at the Westchester County Airport in White Plains, the record high is 79. That's gone. That's going to be long gone on Friday.
It'll probably be gone by 9 a.m.
It could very well be. It is going to be a very warm next couple of days, or just downright hot, if you will. And again, the saving grace is at least we don't have to deal with the humidity. The humidity will be keeping things a bit tolerable out there over these next couple of hot or very warm to hot days.
Now, I just pulled up the dew point map. I just wanted to take a look, at least on the GFS. So, dew points tomorrow, the model's not been low enough with the dew points. They'll probably take longer to come up. But the dew points tomorrow are, I'd say, probably up mid-40s to low 50s. For dew points. In fact, you got 40 dew points all the way down to me, which I won't complain about. Friday, you'll have dew points upper 40s, low 50s. And then Saturday, you start to get to dew points in the middle and upper 50s. And Sunday, you start to see some dew points maybe get near 60. But it's not, they don't go crazy. I mean, you're not seeing like a huge, you're not seeing a huge moisture flow coming up the East Coast, pushing dew points up into the 60s. Barely gets to upper 50s for dew points. And then, of course, next week, but this time around, it's going to be coming with temperatures a lot cooler. You got your dew points in the 30s and even the 20s. It's, during some stretches. So it looks to be on the coolish side through much of next week. One thing I did notice also for next week, there's not it's not an onshore flow issue next week. It's just going to be mostly northwest winds, cool high pressure, and that should just about do it. It's not like we're going to get into a maritime flow with an east wind where it's raw and cold and temperatures don't get out of the 40s or upper 40s and low 50s. The weather maybe much of the time next week will be okay. It'll just be on the coolish side.
That's just interesting to me. I'm looking at the GFSX. These are the raw tabular numbers for the GFS going or stretched out all the way until next Wednesday or early Thursday. Actually, the numbers end 192 hours from initialization. That was from this morning, Thursday morning. But what makes it interesting to me is the fact that, well, first things first, the dew points, Joe, they've got, this is for White Plains now, Westchester County Airport. Dew points tomorrow, 51 to 53. That's okay. Dew points on And the temperatures are so ridiculously too low. Both tomorrow and on Friday, they have high temperatures of 81 at Westchester Airport. Now, 81 on Friday will break the record. On the other hand, we say White Plains for HPM, but really, the airport is located in Harrison, and they often get a local sea breeze off of Long Island Sound, which keeps them cool while the rest of Westchester County heats up. But 81 for a high, according to the GFSX on Friday. Dew point temperature, this is interesting. Dew point temperature Friday afternoon, 48. So even on Friday, they've got dew points down low in the upper 40s and low 50s. Then on Saturday, this is what opens my eyes a little bit. For thunderstorm activity, they have a 1% chance Saturday morning, but a 24% chance. That's rather high for late in the day on Saturday. In other words, these numbers are kind of alluding to the fact that there might be thunderstorms rumbling about maybe late Saturday or Saturday night. And then we get into Sunday, there may be some leftover activity, leftover showers in the morning. Then it tries to dry out later in the day on Sunday. And then I've been saying, with that cold front, Sunday night and Monday, we likely would see maybe a few rumbles of thunder, but they keep the numbers for thunderstorms rather low, only 2% for later Sunday and 2% for early Monday. So I don't know. It doesn't seem to add up to what I'm looking at on the maps, but we'll see how
Yeah,
it all pans
the
out.
line peaks out way to the west before it
Yeah.
swings east. Ohio, western central PA, southwestern New York. Yeah, those areas probably going to have some stronger thunderstorms and maybe even a little bit of severe weather risk. But by the time they reach the coast, which would be at about 1 or 2 in the morning, I would think there wouldn't be a whole lot left. And as far as Saturday is concerned, because the models are picking up on that, that little southern, that feature that's in the Gulf of Mexico, that little low there, there's probably a surviving element to it that runs northeastward up the coast, inland of the coast, and that's what the models pick up on maybe for, say, Saturday afternoon into Saturday evening, which is little convection, and that should be it, and it probably shouldn't amount to too much. Anthony Sparaccio hits the tip jar. Thank you, Anthony, and yes, you love this warm spring weather. You were right about it. I did the same thing. I kept my door shut today because it was 33 this morning. So my house was, this afternoon, when it was 75 outside, the inside of my house was cold. It was 61 because I don't have the heat on. I have it already preset to the air conditioner because my relationship with my thermostat is not a good one. It's not a healthy relationship. It's one of these, it's a digital one, but the things you're supposed to touch with your finger are so small that, if you go try to hit heat, instead you hit emergency heat. You go to try to hit heat again and you hit auto. And if you go try to hit heat again, you hit cool. So I just, back about a month ago, I just set it to the AC side and just left it and decided that if it got cold at night, I'll just put an extra comforter on and sleep. And I sleep better for it. So, end of story. Do you have Briller Jeopardy?
I don't think so.
Let me see if
I will.
I don't think he sent. Did he send one to me? Hold on. Let's see.
Let me just see. He might have. Oh, wait a minute.
You have either you have it because I don't. I think he said he was sending you. It was going to be a
yes. Yes. He said, and now for something completely different on Briller Jeopardy. There are 4 states. There are 4 states that begin with the letters A, I, and W. So what are those 4? What are those 4 states?
You mean like
there's 4 states:
Alabama, Arizona, Wyoming, and Iowa.
Well, no. What he's talking about here is 4 states.
Yeah.
There are 4 states that start with A. There are 4 states that start with I. There are 4 states that start with W.
All right, so the states that start with A: Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas, right? And there's one more?
Yep.
Okay, why am I not remember? Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas.
I've actually been to this fourth state. I've actually been there a couple of
why
times.
am I not remembering this fourth state?
It's a big state, Joe.
It's a big state.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Wait a minute. I'm just running. I'm visualizing down the eastern seaboard here. Okay, no. I'm visualizing around the Great Lakes, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Indiana, Illinois, Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee. No. Arkansas, Alabama, Arizona. Oh, you got me. What am I forgetting? Alaska.
Joe,
Alaska.
Alaska.
Yeah, okay. So those are the 4 states.
Right.
All
That's
right.
for A.
A.
How about I?
All right, so the I states are Indiana, Illinois, Iowa, okay,
Right.
and what's the 4th state? I. Okay, so we know it's not Hawaii because that's an H state. Indiana, Illinois, Iowa.
You have to be wise to know what the 4th state would be.
You have to be wise.
Yes.
Idaho.
There you go.
Thank you, Louis Aricio, for that one, for helping me. All right, so what's the next letter?
And the other one is W.
I'll let the board do this. Well, Steve LaPointe already got it. West Virginia, Washington, Wyoming, and Wisconsin.
And there you go. You got it.
Okay, it's funny how I got stuck on Alaska and Idaho. That's very interesting.
And can somebody out there do me a favor? And I know a lot of people out there are fans of the Old Farmer's Almanac or the Farmer's Almanac. Could somebody please explain to me why? And this I'm talking about the Farmer's Almanac, the one with the orange cover. You look at their map of zones, of places, of various regions that they forecast for. Can somebody please explain to me why West Virginia is included in the Southeast state zone? West Virginia is considered by the Farmer's Almanac to be a southeastern state. And I ask that question because Wheeling, West Virginia, which, by the way, Joe, is the greatest feat of strength ever performed, Wheeling, West Virginia.
Okay.
Wheeling, West Virginia is at latitude 41.5 north, almost the same latitude as New York. And yet, Wheeling, being in West Virginia is considered, according to the Farmer's Almanac, to be in the southeastern part of the United States. How they came up with that, I don't know. And I'm scratching my head. Well, and maybe somebody wants to write to the Farmer's Almanac.
How can you even write a generalized forecast for an area from West Virginia to is Florida in the Southeast group?
Yes.
So how do you write a general how do you write a fake forecast, let's say, for an area from West Virginia to Florida in the winter months?
I don't know. The managing editor or whoever's in charge of setting up the zones obviously must have gotten a D in geography.
Highs ranging from the single digits to 75.
Exactly.
That's just nuts. That's just nuts. Okay.
I know.
You know.
Hey, what are you gonna do?
Exactly.
Oh.
All right, let's call it a night. Tomorrow night, 7:35.
Where am I going? I ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, neither am I. So we'll see you. We'll see you tomorrow night at 7:35. Thanks everybody for being here. Anthony Sparaccio, thank you for hitting super chat tonight. 55 likes, double nickels on the likes, which is great. We always like to push it to 100. And not going to do it tonight. So
Louis Origio, by the way, on the chat board, great line. Brochures for West Virginia indicate greatest skiing in the Southeast.
Right.
All right.
Well,
thank you so much.
Greatest
Louis.
beach weather in the Southeast.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Oceanfront property in West Virginia. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye. Oh, thank you, Leon.
Oh, Leon Probitsky, late super chat hit. Thank you.
Yes.
Bye.
Thank you, Leon. Bye.